Okay, so we're recording.
Ooh, let me know.
So, this is the first episode of our podcast, Angie. Um, I am Jazz. I am a millennial, and I am the
Jazz,
cousin
really? Okay.
Jazz. Yes.
I'm gonna make fun of that later. I'm just gonna write that down. I'm gonna make fun of
Okay,
that later.
thank you. Thank you for not embarrassing me on the public spectrum right now.
Jazz.
And
Come on.
this is into, as you know, we have a lot of what is it, receipts on each other. So like you start mocking me and I'll start mocking you right back. So let's lay down our guns, okay? And just get through this.
Okay. Okay.
We were supposed to have observations on the culture, not on each other. We don't want the yo mama jokes. That's not what we want this to be. Okay, so do you want to tell the people, our 0 to 0+ listeners, what we're doing?
Okay. Specifically for this episode or like generally?
Both.
Both. Okay. Generally, we're gonna be here for an hour or so. Depends on if I'm bored with you or not, or like if I have something better to do, a fun person calls me. Never happens, but anyway, if it happens, it's going to be less than an hour. But generally for an hour, we're going to be talking about 3 or 4 topics of our choosing, and it's going to be funny. It's going to be controversial.
Yes.
And today's thing is things we find weird in the US.
Yes. So for context, we are both Turkish, born and raised, and we've spent a lot of time in the US as well. And so there's like a lot of things that I think maybe Americans think are normal that are absolutely not normal. So we'll address some of them here. I mean, the list is like a million miles long. So we have chosen to keep to just pick 2 things each. Yeah. So why don't we alternate? Maybe you, me, you. And we by the way, we don't know what each other have picked. So go ahead, Angie.
Okay, my first thing is pretty tame. So it's like something I've noticed in the grocery stores as well. Lack of single portion items.
Oh.
Okay, what I mean by that, a very specific thing that happened to me. I was looking for, like, I was gonna go somewhere and it was really hot outside and I wanted to drink something, but I didn't want to drink like a Coke or whatever. I wanted to drink a San Pellegrino. I go into the store, and this is Target. Target? Yes, Target. And I try to look for it. But the only options available are either that like one huge bottle of San Pellegrino or like small bottles, but like there's 12 of them. So never one single bottle, just like one portion, just grab it and go and drink it. Now I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, go to 7-Eleven, but 7-Elevens are usually very empty. They never have anything in stock. And even so, even in 7-Elevens, the portion sizes are huge. You always get the huge San Pellegrino. You never find like the small, you know how we have like one single drinkable portion size stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. This is true. So I feel, actually, I've recently come from Turkey back to the US, and one thing that I personally miss a lot is the concept of bakkal, which I believe in New York City, they have a super shitty version of it they call bodega. But like bodegas are kind of like, shitty ethnic 7-Elevens. So it's not quite what we want. Like, first of all, the difference in Turkey is that the bakkals are on almost every other street, and on long streets there are many of them, right? So they're these like little stores that have 1 to 2 people sizes of like various drinks, nuts, usually not like food, just like prepackaged stuff.
Mhm.
And they're open super late into the night. That's another, you know, benefit of them. And you're right,
Yeah.
like you wouldn't have to, even 7-Eleven is too corporate. So the other thing is like these Bakkals, even though they generally sell the same sorts of things, they're always operated by like one guy who's making his living from that thing. Yeah. They have like Pringles, chips, and then some of them also sell alcohol. And those would be like the take-out versions. But yeah.
In the summer in 7-Eleven, the ice cream selection was like huge box of whatever shitty ice cream, American ice cream. And then like one sad looking Haagen-Dazs stick something, whatever. And that's it in summer. Are you kidding me? Imagine like one of the Bakkals going there and you have like 50 different ice cream types you could choose from. And it's all like single portion because you're one person. And if you want to buy 12, you can just go ahead and buy 12. It doesn't have to come in a 12, like in one giant package that contains 12 portions of ice cream, because who needs that? You can just buy 12. I mean, except if you're going to Costco, fine, like that's what you expect to find there. But like in a small 7-Eleven, why do you need 12 ice creams packaged into one?
Very true. Very true.
It's like that with water also, I noticed.
It's like that where?
With water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Also, very little selection of water.
What do you mean selection of water?
Like different brands. You have like Dasani, Smart, and Fiji. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's
I agree.
Buy. That's it. Like, I want variety. Even okay, in Turkey, in every city, the water brands are different. Did you know that? Maybe you didn't because you don't really travel around the country that much.
That's true. I didn't. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I do miss like, so the waters actually in the US also are strange for me because like I want spring, like natural spring water, right? And like for example, there's like Ice Mountain that I'm drinking these days. But basically 100% natural spring water. And like the waters in the US, like at least there should be that option. Like, but they're filtered water. Like I believe these are just like waters. I don't even know what it is. It's like, is it like sewer water that they like took the microbes from and then they're selling that water? I believe that's Dasani.
I didn't even know filtered water existed before I came to the US. I thought all water was supposed to be spring water.
Oh, interesting.
Because who would buy and drink filtered water? You could just drink that from your tap.
True.
No?
True.
Yani.
Anyway. True, that is literally tap water. I mean, tap water is drinkable in the US technically, but like, you know, it's not the healthiest necessarily, I think. And yeah, you want spring water. You don't want like chemically treated, purified water, which is the option you most get. Like, but I don't even understand what those like Evians or Smart Waters are because they're not natural spring water either. So like, yeah, why don't you just sell spring water?
I think Evian should be spring water.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. Strange. Interesting. Single portions. I agree with you. Yeah, there's
it's like that with candy. It's like that with like all the common grocery items. It's so annoying that you have to buy it in bulk, even though you're not in Costco, you're in Target, you're in wherever, it has to be this huge portion that you never get to use up, that you never get to fully finish. So annoying.
I agree with you. Yeah, even in Turkey, we have this. I remember recently we hosted a dinner or two back in Turkey, and my mom asked me to go fetch ayran. And ayran is this like yogurt drink we have. But the point is like it's packaged in individual sizes that is like in US equivalents, like a small Starbucks cup, imagine that. And it's prepackaged in that portion. So I bought a bunch for the various people that were coming over. But yeah, you would never find that kind of packaged thing in like a common grocery store over here, not even in 7-Eleven. Like they're always much bigger. You're right. It's never like an individual, you know, one sit down eating or drinking portion.
But when it comes to like fruits and vegetables,
they
package everything. Like 2 strawberries together, it's a pack.
True.
4 oranges together, just let me do it. I'll pick however, like, why can't I pick however many items I need? Why does it have to be the Whole Foods, the Target, who decides how many oranges I need? Why can't I buy 11? Maybe I need
11. So this is interesting. I've thought that it might be like a more convenience thing for Americans, because having it prepackaged allows them to have a barcode. Whereas if it's like, if you pick, then you have to also get it weighed. That was my only, yeah.
Okay, my thing was, it's kind of mean, but I thought it's because Americans never eat enough fruits and vegetables, so they only buy like 2.
Right, so you thought they have to force the other oranges on them, otherwise they would just buy 1.
Exactly, it has to be 3 so that they feel bad and eat it.
Oh my gosh. Yes,
this is me. This is kind of like a what is it, the what do you call it when you're judging someone based on their stereotype? I forget the word. Stereotype.
Oh yeah. We have to, the answer is one of those, or maybe something else. We'll see. Let's say it's for the convenience, okay? Let's not say that they're trying to force feed the oranges.
Okay, this could very well been a point of mine. Why does everything have to be so convenient?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I think things can be difficult a little.
I remember actually being shocked, like one of my absolute shock grocery store moments in the US, when I saw a little package of chopped onions. I was like, what?
So there's
go ahead.
So there's a very, very niche kind of person who needs it. I didn't know this at first, but like people who have like Parkinson's disease, or old people, their hands are shaking, or like they're not able to use the knife or whatever. So turns out there is a use for that, but like that's very, very niche.
I mean, I don't know if I buy it though. Like, I mean, what are old people in the rest of the world doing? Like, are they not eating onions? Like, I feel like the answer, I mean, you can say that for anything. Like, theoretically, there's you could like pre-chew like baby, exactly, like mom birds, and like spit it, because maybe some people don't have the teeth to chew, but like that's not the reason. Yeah, it does. You're right.
It makes sense, but it can't be the only reason.
Yeah.
There's certainly like a 30-year-old healthy person buying the chopped onions.
Yeah, because they just don't want to bother chopping onions. That's true. Okay, I love it. So now I'll tell you my observation.
Yours is going to be so much worse than mine, isn't it?
No, I have. No, I'm keeping it light. We have to like gently introduce the people to us. We can't go into deep observations just yet. Let's keep it light. So my thing is about the attitude towards smoking and tobacco among, let's say, educated people. So like college graduates.
Interesting.
So the thing is, and I'll tell this to you with an anecdote, and then yeah. My anecdote is, and this has happened like 10 different times, 10 different ways. But the most recent was like, I met a couple sort of somewhere through work, and we were just chatting with them. And somehow like the conversation went to, how, everywhere in Chicago smells like pot and how much I hate it. And then somewhere along there I said, but I don't mind like the smell of smoke that much. And I said, have you guys ever smoked or, yeah, because they were like saying, you know, they don't mind pots because they sometimes smoke pot. And yeah, and when I asked them if they ever smoked a cigarette, their eyes like widened and they were like, no, 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 we would never. I was like, you know, as if like their behavior was like as if I asked them, you know, if they casually tasted arsenic, like on the side, like they're just so, you know, it's so bad for you, and like, you know, they're like, we're runners, and like you can't run if you smoke. So first of all, like I didn't mean if you smoke as in if you're addicted to smoking, like smoke every day, a pack a day. I mean like ever, like what, you know. And this is so strange because in Turkey I feel like you know, even if many people are not smokers, they have smoked at least once, and maybe they do so like once a year, right? They go to hookah with their friends, or they smoke a cigar somewhere or a cigarette here. Like it's not you know, the idea. But Americans think smoking is like heroin, like you do it once and you're hooked on it forever, and you're like shaking a bottle or a pack of cigarettes. It's so strange, and this is coming from people who like admitted to me that they smoke pot or like they drink, you know, they maybe they get drunk on Fridays. Like they're not some kind of health purists that are like never putting a bad thing in their body. They do, it's just they don't do with smoking, and I found that so weird.
So I agree with you. Okay, my personal position is I hate smoking personally. I can't stand the smell. I can't, people who smoke smell terrible. I can't stand it. It's my personal position. But like I can say this, I can be on the high ground because I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do any drugs. I work out. So I can be this pious person who's like, I hate smoking. I can be that person. But like I agree with you. Like these Americans, I love you, but like, yes,
but see,
exactly like you said, they're gonna be like, oh no, we never smoke, but then do cocaine with you in the evening.
right? Like their thing is legit coming from a place of fear, fear of smoke. Like yours is coming from, you know, I hate it, I don't like it, I don't like the smell. But like, it's not coming from a place of like, I'm afraid if I, you know, touch a piece of tobacco, I'll be hooked forever, which is their opinion, I think.
So how is it better to smoke pot versus cigarette?
Yeah, you know, things one cannot explain. So I've developed a theory on this actually, because like this reaction never made sense to me until I sort of thought, like, I think that Americans overall are enormously susceptible to media. And this is like one way that sort of the believing media manifests itself, because it's not so much laws, because like actually, you know, pot is more illegal than tobacco, right? So it's not necessarily about that, but like pot is always known as like the cool kid drug, the like you know, philosopher, high school student, looking at the stars and like contemplating how small we are, man, you know, that kind of like either innocent or creative sort of drug. And it's portrayed like this everywhere in the media, right? Whereas the tobacco is like, has a very negative, low class kind of connotation in the US. And I think that's why, like, because they're so influenced by media propaganda that they have this reaction, I think.
Yes, as a smoking hater, for me, there's no difference between pot or whatever you're smoking in that. It just looks ugly, smells ugly. Everyone should just stop it, basically.
Right? Yeah. Like you should be if you have this sort of reaction to smoking because of health reasons, like you should be an equal opportunity purist, but you're not. Yeah. Yeah, I think like in Turkey, besides the fact that like a much greater portion of the population smoke, and that doesn't just include like, I think smoking in the US has a definite class connotation. Like,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, blue collar people might smoke, like the plumber might smoke, but you wouldn't expect, you know, a college graduate engineer or McKinsey consultant to smoke. Yeah.
But they do much worse things.
They
It's not
do,
about,
they do.
like you
It's
said,
not about
yeah,
health.
it's not about
Yeah.
health.
Yeah. I think it's a class thing. And like the health is, many such cases in the US, but like the health stuff is a mere pretext, I think, to like the
They will
actual,
openly discriminate against you if you're smoking. In like job interviews and stuff, they will, like, let's say we're two equal candidates. They, first of all, they will ask you if you're smoking before the interview. And if you're not smoking and I'm smoking and we're equals, they will hire you instead of me because they don't want someone taking smoke breaks.
Ooh, in Turkey.
Yes.
Huh. Yeah.
Also, I know,
Oh,
like, when my mom was working, there was like this huge HR problem. Like, it was a big thing because people who weren't smoking complained about people who were smoking because they were taking a lot of breaks.
oh my
And it
God.
was unfair, which it kind of is, you know, if you're outside for 10 minutes smoking, like 5 times a day, that's almost an hour. So that's, yes, it's unfair. But I always find it really weird that they will just ask you openly if you're smoking and then just like point blank not hire you if you are.
That's weird. Yeah, I did not know that. So the thing about this reminds me the smoking break discussion about something that I had read a while ago. So when I used to work at a corporate job in the US a while ago, we had this like productivity consultant type people come in and essentially like talk to us. Yeah, but this one thing that it stuck. It's usually shitty, but like one thing they said is like, because I'm a software engineer, so it's like it's important to be well concentrated. And so they were giving us strategies on how to maintain your concentration. And breaks are an important part of that. Like you can't really concentrate for 8 hours straight. So their teaching was like, how do you take effective breaks? And they said you have to do a break has to achieve 3 things. Number one, you have to switch location. Number two, you have to switch what you're looking at. And number three, you have to switch your breathing. So that means, for example, you can't merely
That's
like,
a
let's
smoke
say,
break.
yeah, I know. And so they were exactly. And they said they were like the blind studies looking at the effect, at the productivity of smokers and non-smokers. And despite the breaks, like the longer breaks, the smokers were more productive because they were taking better breaks and like, rejuvenating their minds better. So yeah, they were like, we don't encourage you to start smoking, but take better smoking breaks, take better breaks was their conclusion. Interesting. So yeah, I feel like the HR smoking thing in Turkey too might be like their attitude is not I am more productive than the smoker. It's just like a thing born out of jealousy. Like, why don't I get to take a 10-minute break?
Exactly. I would be jealous too if I didn't get to take that 10-minute break as well. Çünkü yani if you're there during that 10 minute that the smoker isn't there, the boss is yelling at you, you get stuck with the bad job, whatever. So obviously there's a lot of resentment building there.
True. Yeah. You cannot we support segregation by smoking status. Right? We can't have mixed teams like that, Inja. Do you support segregation, Inja?
It's too early for that. That
Too
should
early.
be episode 5, yani minimum.
Yes. We're just talking about segregation, guys. Nothing else. I mean smoking, nothing else.
The Freudian slip. The Freudian slip.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. So have to wait until episode 5 for our opinions on segregation.
So I think first 4 episodes, it's fine. It's going to be monetized. So we need to take sponsors for episode 1, 2, 3, 4. But
Yes.
5, let's see if we're called into like the Senate
where things fall down. Yeah.
It's fine. I'm not the one in the US, so it's fine. Nothing will happen to me. They will light your car on fire.
Oh my God, not my car. You could have said house and it would have been
people
fine.
think it's like a Mercedes or something. It's a Prius. Fine.
It's my Prius.
Anyways, yes, right. I agree. This is such an interesting point. I had never realized smoking could be, yes, the attitude towards smoking is class-based. That's so true. It's not about health. It's about, oh, do you think I'm smoking? I would never. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. What's your second observation?
So this is something I feel very strongly about. I'm really passionate about this. Okay, are you ready?
Oh, I don't know if I am with this introduction. Do I need to sit down? What do I need to do here?
You know how passionate I am about this. So,
oh my God.
We can do it. Okay, you're gonna understand what I'm talking about once I reveal the subject. But I feel like we can do an episode on this, solely on this subject, in a later episode. Anyways, we'll see. I'd be very happy if we could. Anyways.
Sorry, is this gonna be before episode 5? Like, is it monetizable or not? What kind of topic are
it's monetizable, and I feel like I'm gonna draw on the heartstrings of many, many people in the world.
Really? Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm ready.
Okay. So, US. Why when I'm in a public bathroom, I can be seen from the outside?
Oh my God. I agree. Oh my God. Yes.
And you know, I'm such a passionate person when it comes to like plumbing and bathrooms and
don't I know it? Oh my God. Okay, you know, I feel like this last statement has to be explained, like why a Gen Z girl is passionate about plumbing. So I just want to take it aside for a second and say, so Angie has this fascination with indoor plumbing and like being hooked up to sewage lines, and I don't. So this shows up in a variety of ways. So for example, if I propose that, you know, we go and take a road trip and maybe rent a van or something, like her immediate question, first question is, do you know your question, Angie? Where does the
poop go?
Yes, where does the poop go? This is always like whenever you want to plan a trip with Angie, like you don't have to be worrying so much about the weather or the sightseeing. The first question you need to be able to answer to her is that after she poops, that poop will go away, far, far away, through flushing. And if that is not met,
flushing, exactly. Not. There was this video on YouTube, okay? This weird little camping couple, van life kind of people. Anyways, they're like, oh, look at this new bathroom we got, and it's all luxury, it's lovely, blah, blah, blah. But then they have to take the poop out themselves and dump it somewhere. Then it's not really a toilet, is it? It's like it's pooping outside. Even worse, you have to move the poop yourself.
Yeah. It's so amazing how like this is such a deal breaker. It's a true like deal breaker for you, because it's not a trade-off, meaning like we talked about this, like would you live in the Topkapi Palace without plumbing? And the answer is no. Would you live in Palaces of Versailles without, you know, indoor plumbing? And the answer is no. So
there is no king, no queen, no nobody I would trade my flushable bathroom with. Like Cleopatra lived a great life, good for her. Does she have a flushing toilet? No, she doesn't.
Yes very. Anyways,
very shout out to plumbers all around the world. You're seen, really appreciated by me. Thank you for your service.
Yes, when Angie says thank you for your service, that's what she means.
So yeah, exactly, like soldiers. There's no war, so you know.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. Plumbers, there's a war outside every day.
They make a difference. They truly do make a difference. Like firefighters, sit on their ass all day. Like once in a blue moon, they maybe are called, maybe are not. But yeah,
Look,
you're
by
right.
the time firefighters are called, people are either out of the building or dead.
Yes. What there's no we could do another episode on like the highest
Useless
team.
professions versus useful professions.
Yes. Yes. And the highest team firefighters are held. It's like so undeserved, in my humble opinion.
It's only because they have muscles. Only.
That's true.
Only. If they were ugly, there would be no fire department funded in this country.
That's true. We just want them to like, so they're actually, it works on both sexes, okay? Women just like want half naked men that like theoretically could save them in a fire. Of course, women don't want to actually be caught in fires. They just want like the theoretical possibility of being saved by strong men. And like men, they've always like played with little fire trucks since they were boys. And so that's what they want to see. So it works on both.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's that's the only reason we have fire departments. But so okay, going back to how did we come to indoor plumbing? Why can they see us from outside? Yes, this is an amazing question. I demand answers. It's so bad. It's so bad. So like I don't even know if maybe we might have audiences outside of the US. So I feel like this needs to be explained what even we're talking about. Do you want to say how it's in the US and how it's everywhere else in the world?
Okay, everywhere else in the world, even the countries I haven't been to because they have half a brain. You have a cabin, it's closed, you can't see inside the cabin because that's the whole point. There are no slits. If there's a slit, it's not, you can't see through it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, beneath the cabin, there's like, okay, there's this gap, but it's not huge. Like it's not visible. In the US, you have a cabin, the slit that, the lock goes into, it's huge. You can literally see inside. And I mean that not in a way that there's a pervert person trying to look inside. I mean, just like a random passerby can't see inside the cabin. Why?
Yeah. So when people are in a public bathroom, like a mall or a restaurant, like somewhere where there's a lot of traffic, what you'll find in the US, you're exactly right. When you close the door to your stall, like both sides of the door have gaps that are about maybe 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters wide.
And that's if you're lucky. Like if honestly, things I've
yeah, that's about like an inch on both sides. Plus, like it's almost to your knees in terms of like the gap from the bottom. And you feel so exposed. Like for me, no matter when I go to a public bathroom in the US, like first things to do is to strategize, like take off a coat and like strategically put it to the left side, and then like take off the bag and like put the straps around to the right side so that I'm not visible from there. And yeah, I agree with you.
I have seen at least 10 people peeing.
Which is 10 more than you ever wanted to in your life.
Like imagine I'm someone who's trying to avoid seeing these people. Imagine if I was a pervert.
And I don't know what, I have no idea. Because anything you say, like, technically there might be, a reason people might come up with, such as, oh, like, what if you faint inside and we need to be able to see, I guess, if you fainted or something.
Like, what do you mean? You can see if someone is fainted from a,
a much smaller gap. Yeah. Like at the bottom. Or like they might say, oh, well, we need to be able to figure out if it's locked or if there's someone inside. And, there are much better ways to do that than leaving gaps to see if there's a human in there. It's wild.
Makes sense. It doesn't. How many people faint in toilets?
We demand statistics. This is true.
I want to hear from a person who fainted in a bathroom, was seen by someone from outside, and now she's thankful that we have these visible public bathroom cabins. I want to meet that person.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why is because Americans have no shame. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. Okay, hear me. They're not ashamed of their bodies. They're not ashamed of their sexuality. It's like they're not ashamed of someone seeing them pee. It's not a big deal to them, I think.
Yeah. That and this goes eternally back to our thing of like, bring shame back.
Exactly.
Please be ashamed.
Be ashamed just a little, please.
A little. I don't want to see that. Yeah. It's so interesting because, like, we talk about Americans and like as if, like Americans are a combination of basically, like, theoretically combination of Europeans and African Americans and Latinos and whatever. So like it's strange that like you find this nowhere else. It's not like in Britain they have, these these kinds of toilets, but in America, so America took it from them. No, this is like a uniquely American thing. I think everyone like was fleeing whatever, maybe persecution or whatever thing they had in their home countries, and they decided to have freedom in the US, and like freedom did not lead them to good outcomes. That's a little too much freedom. Like, we need to take it back.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like for some people, so many good things about America, this is not something you care about. You have a nice car, you have a nice house, so you don't care if some random person can see you peeing. I get that.
True. Trade-offs.
But actual Americans, I think they just don't care. That they're fine with being seen in a compromising position.
Yeah, like, because you have to think, like, these things were designed at some point, right? So like someone came up with like a design for public bathrooms that included gaps. And then like whoever, like the owners of the malls looked at that and were like, yeah, that's what I want. That makes sense. So exactly, like a mentality that like says that. I mean, that's as strange as like in Turkey. Imagine.
Sorry, just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, sorry.
No problem. Is it the little Sasha?
Yep.
Yes, Sasha is the little dog that Angie got last year that stole all of our hearts. It's wild. It's wild.
Sorry, she was yelling at barking at my shower slippers. Anyways.
You say that as if it makes sense, but I guess it does to you and to her.
Yeah, it does. I'm sure in her world. Okay, what makes more sense? A dog barking at a shower slipper versus someone being okay being seen peeing?
That's true. Yeah, can't argue with that. The shower slippers makes more sense. I'm saying, like, so someone has like designed these, designed these stalls with gaps in them. Someone has approved it. Someone that has built it. And like nowhere in that chain of reasoning has anyone said like, we should not do this yet. Hold on a second, are we doing the right thing? And you're right, like the only explanation is that they are not ashamed. This is what, it doesn't even occur to them.
It's fun. Mistakes happen. People who are running things are stupid. That's fine. But people use these and they're fine with it.
Yeah.
You could just fix it. You could just not, okay, you produce one set of like horrible, terrible, visible stalls and people are shocked, obviously, and they never want to use it again. And the second, public bathroom cabins you install are fixed. They know because people are shocked that they can be seen from outside. Why has that not happened?
Yes. Very true. Very true. Like, it's so strange. I mean, it's as shocking as like, I don't know, for us, like imagine we go to another country where there's a Levi's store, like you expect it to be selling jeans, but it's like, you know, the front part of the jeans is cut out. So like everything,
Exactly.
you know, it just covers the legs. It doesn't cover. So like, you know, that's the level of shock I think we both experienced when we first saw these like barely
Exactly. It's
covered
like
stuff.
buying a t-shirt with nipple holes. It's exactly
Yes. Like we, you know, yeah, it definitely throws you in for a loop. Like I thought I was adapting. I thought I, you know, spoke the language or whatever. But you see that and you're like, oh no, like I'm not whatever this is, I'm not that.
mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like until you comfortably pee in a public bathroom,
You are not really American.
yeah, exactly. You can't. You just can't be.
That's the measure of an assimilated American. Is like, well, you the second you step into a bathroom, are you trying to plug the holes, or are you just letting your pants drop? We should. They should
That should
ask
be
that
the
on like
test.
exactly.
Like, who was the first president? What do you feel about public bathrooms?
Exactly. And I feel like speaking of stuff that unites Americans, that's probably much more of a united. Like, who's the first president? I doubt like more than half of Americans even know that. I honestly do. So, however, the bathroom thing is very much a uniting phenomenon. Fascinating.
I just wanted to, you know, because bathrooms are sacred to me.
Yeah, we could not have an episode, especially our first episode, without a mention of like bathrooms for sure.
We should do an episode on like male female relationships, whatever, but there's a lot of them, I know, but like we should do one on. So my perspective is, I think men think it's hot when they're like businessmen, engineers, especially software engineers. I hate.
No offense taken, although you're gonna be like, offense intended.
No, to me, like, I don't care. I know how stupid those people are. I know how stupid engineers are. I went to school with them. Truly, I know how dumb they are. But a plumber, like, that's who man should aspire to be.
Yes.
If you want to be a girl,
you should marry a plumber.
You should be a plumber if you want
to be a plumber. Yeah, to get a girl. Yes,
you should be a plumber. You make good money. You're actually doing something useful. I think that's so hot. I would marry a plumber today over some dumb software engineer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like, I mean, interesting. Like, if people knew, so Angie is like our resident luxury expert in the family. Like every brand, every sort of like very bougie thing she would know. And then like for her to hold plumbers and flushing in such high esteem, I'm just saying it says a lot.
I'm a huge elitist. I'm very high maintenance. No shame about that. But tell me what's more high maintenance and elitist than wanting a working flushing toilet?
Yes. You know, like one of the crowning achievements of the Roman Empire always was their aqueducts. Like the thing, essentially their version of like flushing toilets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I was coughing for a second. All right.
No.
So now that we you know, covered I guess the begin of the digestive system with grocery food stuff and the end of it, let's go to another thing. This is my observation. It is the prevalence of adoption in the US, particularly like across races. and international. So what I mean is like this, it's so wild. Like, but you'll find this like a bunch of kids during communism in Romania were like left by their parents in orphanages, and then like Americans went over to Romania and snatched those kids. Okay, or there's like orphanages in China, and like American, the like Midwestern. They're usually, so there's certain type like they're usually very Christian. I think they called it, so this is a whole nother episode, but like there are a million different Christians in America, but I think this particular community is what they call evangelical Christians. I'm honestly not sure like how these people are different from like Catholics, different from Orthodox, whatever, but it's like they're the ones who actually like read the Bible and like quote verses of the Bible in their profiles or whatever. Like these are the people I'm talking about. They for some reason like deeply believe in adopting random kids. and the reason I say this, and I found this so strange, is like Chinese people in China, Chinese people in America have not adopted. Like it's not a mere matter of resources or anything like that, because Chinese people in America have not adopted as many random kids from Chinese orphanages as like these white Christian, Midwestern or Southern Americans have. And I always found that so strange.
So like, are there no children available for adoption in the US?
Those are already adopted mostly, I would say. Yeah,
because like I always hear about kids in the system, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think I would say, basically that there's no kids, especially of a young-ish age, like let's say under 10, that are not adopted in the US. I'm pretty sure like teenagers might be a different story. Sometimes also they don't let like one sibling get adopted without the other one also getting adopted. But yeah, like most of the young kids in the US are probably already adopted. So like having exhausted the local supply, these people go to, and like it's so strange on various levels. Like first of all, like how is it in Turkey? Do you even know anyone that was adopted? Is this like a thing that you ever?
Yeah, I personally never met anyone who was adopted. There are rarely couples who adopt, but it's very strict. Like it's not that easy to adopt. It's easy to foster. Pretty much, and pretty much anyone without a criminal record can foster. I could foster today. But adoption is a different story. Let me see. I maybe heard once a person who was adopted, and that's heard, not met.
And like these adopted ones,
I think kind of secretly frowned upon as well.
Frowned upon by, sorry, who's doing the frowning upon who?
Like, let's say I'm married today. My husband and I we can't have kids. Okay, it's impossible for whatever reason, and we adopt. I don't think our families would be happy about it. I think in my head they would much rather we stayed childless. Yeah. Secretly, not like openly. Nobody would treat the child or whatever, but they wouldn't really be happy as if they became grandparents.
This is true. I agree. Like blood certainly matters an enormous amount in
and everyone
Turkey.
would look for like some malice. Our not friends, but like outside people. It's like I said, it's frowned upon. It's either the child is either not accepted into the family, secretly or openly, or either people outside, your close circle, or maybe acquaintances, colleagues, or whatever, usually people hide it because they're always looking for some malice in it, or it's frowned upon. Religious, maybe, I'm not sure, but it's not
like,
well liked, basically.
The thing is, I think like most people, even the people that like you in Turkey, would think that you're kind of being dumb by doing this. Like kind of, sponsoring, a whole nother kid. And like, it's one thing if like it's worse if it's even your only kid. Like in the US, for example, this would be like families that already have a couple kids and then like choose to add a couple of adopted kids into it. So these Christians are generally, they're not doing it because they can't have kids of their own. Like they already have a bunch of kids and they just want like one or two more for the grace of God. So it's done purely in a very altruistic, it's a form of altruism, like a very, personal altruism. And like, I think
they just adopt the kid, they can get into heaven.
They can say again.
So they just adopt the kids so they can get into heaven, like more kids, more heaven.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Like,
okay.
It's so interesting. I mean, this is a more pure version. I think in the US, like in Turkey, they're afraid of, being taken advantage of by essentially what's a stranger in your house. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And
even
what's
as a baby, like even if you adopt the child as a baby, it's considered a stranger.
Yeah, I think in Islam there's a concept of or I'm not sure if it's Islam or just a cultural thing over there, but there's a concept of süt annesi. So meaning like have the kids shared a mother's milk. And if they have, they're considered, like the bond is considered stronger than like if you were to adopt them after the breastfeeding stage, for example.
Yes. So yes, this is, but this was before formula became available.
Oh yeah. True.
It's not really a thing anymore, but even that, it's a nice thing to do. There's a hungry baby, you're a mom with a lot of milk, you just give some milk to the kid, whatever. Even that was frowned upon because the kid is not yours.
Yeah. I kind of want to think about so I'm not sure if this is like if this is American thing or if this is like a, white Nordic naive European thing. Because what I don't know is like in America, it's certainly more associated with Christianity, I would say. Also, the other strangely, the other group that adopts is far from Christianity. Gay couples also adopt.
Yeah, true. They have no other choice, so that But should they be allowed to adopt is a controversial, but I think
it's after episode 5. Log back in. We don't. So in Turkey, we don't have that, right, Angie?
Well, it's in court. We'll see. No, I'm kidding. It's not in court.
No, yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah, I mean, so you're right. Like they barely let straight people adopt. So we have a long way to go to some kind of gay couple adoption thing. Although I would say like the jury is out on that. I mean, the long-term health of these kids might, be evaluated at some point in the future. Yeah.
But even philosophically, like let's forget about the kids. Why should they get what they want? Like why should people get what they want all the time? Why should you be getting a child from China or whatever simply because you have to have a child? Well, you can't just accept it. Like why does every need, and this is not just about gay couples having children or whatever, this is everyone everywhere about everything in America. Why do you have to have it? Like if if gay people somehow could have a child in a test tube or whatever, none of them would be adopting and none of them would be having the test tube child. It's only because they can't have a child that they're adopting.
That's so interesting.
It is. I know it is. Because children are so difficult. And okay, on the other side of the spectrum, I know this is a little irrelevant, but like to me, it's so crazy. You have straight women and men not wanting a child, to all the way to gay couples who will like die to have a child.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole spectrum. This is true.
It's only because they can't have it. Only because. And you'll see. I'll be proven correct, but yeah, in maybe 50 years when test tube children become available.
And then like no gays have kids. Yeah. Yeah. I almost want to be like, see, like the things that we have enabled in the US to make this possible, like the laws that have been overturned, the like international adoption system that's been erected just so gay couples can have kids. It's amazing. Like, what if you told something to gay, like, hey, gays, you can't go to Mars or something, and then like they make that happen. It would be a much better channeling of social resources. Yes, yes. Suddenly the whole society would be trying to go to Mars.
And I admire the passion. I do.
Yeah. It's true. Like, the other thing I was sort of wondering, like in Turkey, so you said like it's frowned upon and seen as a stranger and kind of strange. And I agree with all that. Although, like one thing you'd never see, like if adoption is rare in Turkey, something you never ever see, I would say, is international adoption, especially across races, right? Like nobody would go from Turkey to China to get themselves a baby. Absolutely. Like that is the most bizarre thing ever. That would never happen.
Never happen. Yeah, no, never.
To Africa, right? Like the idea, I think this is not even within the conception of the Turkish mind. Like the idea that someone would want to do this, like, and that something like that might have, because like the Americans that are doing this, they're truly believers in the blank slate, you know, like the idea that you could pluck a kid from Africa and get it into your Midwestern family in the US and like all that will still work out fine. Like you must really believe that to go ahead and do that whole thing, right? And
I mean,
I think,
okay, let's say it works out fine. You know, a baby, you raise it, it becomes fat and American, whatever. Why? Still, the why remains.
Yeah, like why upon encountering, you know, something like that, like let's say, yeah, why does it have to, why do you have to get what you want? I think this is true.
Why do you have, if you look, couples who can't have kids, I have such a sympathy for. It's such a difficult situation. You go a little crazy. That I have sympathy for. But like, if you have 3 children, why do you need to adopt 3 more? Just, you can't. Like, we should ban this, honestly. Makes me so angry when people are like, no, I'm gonna get more. No, I'm gonna do this. Like, have 3, take care of those. Leave the Chinese baby alone.
Yeah. I feel, Angie, are you possibly a little bit annoyed at, from the perspective of the 3 kids as well? Like they didn't sign up to have, like kids already don't sign up to have siblings, but like maybe you can say, you know, that's going to be an asset for them in the future or something. But like now you thrust siblings on them from across the pond.
Exactly, from across the pond. And that's like inheritance divided by 3 versus inheritance divided by 6 now.
Yeah, true.
So sad.
True. Be more selfish.
They're strangers.
Say again, they're strangers?
They're basically strangers. Like okay, imagine you have 3 babies at the same time, and then you bring in 3 babies from China. maybe more easier to adapt to, right? For the biological kid. But let's say you're 10, you know, you love your family, you want your family to be at your soccer game, whatever. And then one day they're like, oh no, honey, we have to take care of the Chinese baby we brought in because you were not good enough for us.
Yeah.
It's so
honestly,
this should not be allowed.
Yeah, like the adoption thing is truly wild. Like, and I feel like there's enormous pressure in the US to, like, you know, sprinkle glitter on adoption stories, such that we never really, I think, learn the real story. Like, and it's wild. So recently there's been this thing in the US. There's a football player called Colin Kaepernick. He was adopted. He's a black guy adopted by a white family, and he made it all the way to like the National Football League, I believe, and whatever. So he's like a very successful player, and he made like millions of dollars and stuff. But recently he came out saying, you know, he basically like publicly criticized the family that adopted him, the white family that adopted him.
See, that's what you get. That's what you get.
And yes, such ingrate, like so ungrateful. And I'm like, this is a guy like like he has nothing but a little bit of like clout to gain from it, truly clout chasing, because like he's already a millionaire, right? His name and face are already well known in the US. He already has like brand deals and stuff. So it's not like, you know, this is the one way like he could sensationalize an adoption story, let's say, gone bad, and publish a book and try to make some money off book sales. It's not like that. He already has millions of dollars. And despite having everything, this is what he's doing, right? And I'm like, this is probably a much more common story than like in Kaepernick's case, it was allowed press, I think, because he's like black and the people he's speaking out are white. But I think like this has to be like
there? Did they hit him or something?
No, they were just like not sensitive to whatever, you know. Yeah.
So like there's no abuse or whatever.
No. Yeah, I know. Like I feel like we are in this strange place where we are more liberal than the Turkish society, but we're much more conservative compared to the American society.
Okay, let's leave that to the side. Let's whatever, liberal, whatever. Okay, leave that to the side. I don't know this story, but you say there's no abuse, like no one hit him, he's fine, he had a safe place to grow up, and obviously because he became a millionaire or whatever. Like, isn't this treason? This is the only family you've ever known.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be like, not about whatever. I don't care about his sensitivities. But you shouldn't be doing this.
100%. Like, I'm just thinking, say again?
If there was a situation like, oh, they hit me, they abused me, they raped me, so I ended up on the streets, fine, like, out them. What's the issue here? That you had a fight, your parents were insensitive to you? That's it?
Join the club, man.
They said mean stuff about you? Okay, where are my millions?
Exactly.
Moms.
Exactly. Like, I think this is enormous treason. Like, because I think it's like the threshold to bitching about your parents in public is appropriately so high. And this is like, you know, I don't think you would even like talk bad about your parents if they like slapped you around a little bit even, right? So this idea that like someone adopts you into their family, you know, gives you all the resources, and then like you know, it's enormous treason, and it's wild. Like I think there was
and by the way, someone exactly why adoption is frowned upon here, because they expect the adoptee to betray the family.
Yeah.
And someone like this asswipe comes in and proves them right.
Very true. Very true. I do think, like, you know, there was a podcast I watched a while back where like there was a situation where a couple could not have kids, and so they were looking for possibly considering adoption, and like the woman was asking around her family and friends to see if this was a good idea, and then like someone who already had kids of her own, one of her friends was saying, like, honey, like if you want to do this for like altruistically, that's one thing. But like if you expect the adopted kid to be like, oh, my new mom and dad, you saved me, I'm so grateful, maybe you should rethink this. And I thought like she was so right. Like, kids are so ungrateful, and like maybe what makes it bearable with blood ties is that at some point, like, they understand that the blood ties are very sort of strong to overcome whatever issues you might have growing up. But if you don't have that, like, it's going to be very easy to amplify whatever slights you considered were done against you.
The only reason my mom hasn't killed me yet is because she wants more children.
Yes.
The only reason I haven't killed her yet is, one, she's gonna babysit the kid, and two, she gave me her beautiful nose. That's it.
Yeah. There's imagine if she didn't want, her own grandkids. Imagine that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Imagine if you didn't need a babysitter. This is very much like, in the beginning we talked about spilling the beans on each other, mutually assured destruction. That's what families are for, you have these families so that you can threaten them without them betraying you to the public. That is also what family is for.
I really like the Catholic idea of marriage where you can't get a divorce. So that's basically family. You can have an uncle who's like a drunk, rapist, gambler, whatever, but you can't change the fact that he's your uncle. You're blood related. And you're more understanding to your family. You love your family basically up until a very, very high threshold of them doing bad things, but it's much higher for your family than it is for other people.
Yeah, and there's many more comebacks and stuff. Very true. Like, as soon as I think like the relationship fundamentally changes if you think that you can wiggle out of it. Like, ultimately, I think the revealed preference of everyone is that, like, the slight, like, this goes back to the convenience thing, but like the second a relationship gets a little bit too inconvenient and a little bit not precisely the way you wanted, you just like bail out. And with family, you can't bail out,
You can't bail out, exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, good things and bad things.
Right. True. I think in June we covered quite a few things. I love this. I'll see if I can figure out how to sort of stitch the audio together and publish it. And yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can figure it out. The super talented software engineer.
Extraordinaire, yes. Do you want to figure it out?
Please tell me you can do it.
Yes. I'm sure.
Okay, I need to know someone who calls themselves a software engineer can do this.
Otherwise, you'll lose even the shred of respect you had, right?
Just our society is gonna collapse one day simply because people who have these titles actually don't know how to do shit.
True.
Except for plumbers. I love plumbers.
We'll have Plumber King, nominate the plumbers as kings. Yes.
Listen, once the society has fallen, the person who can fix the toilet will be the billionaire.
Yes.
It's my dating advice for all the girls out there.
Get yourself a plumber. You heard it here. Yeah. Angie, may I ask, are you like stalking, what's the meslek liseleri, like the vocational schools, plumbing schools? Are you like camping in front of them to snatch yourself a plumber?
Because there's a huge age difference. So no, I'm not. Okay, I would like it on record that I do not wait in front of high schools.
You're not preying on high school boys? Is that what I'm supposed to believe?
I'm not doing that. But like, I'm just saying, maybe through this podcast that's going to reach millions of plumbers, give me a call.
There's a single girl in Turkey waiting to be your dutiful wife.
I get you. I get it. I get what you do. I get why it's important. And what more could you ask?
Actually, like, honestly, in the US, there's like discussions on, like plumbers, they don't have a college degree, but whatever. Like, it's always a kind of a compromise. Let me tell you, our plumber audience, Angie like respects you more than any Wall Street finance bro, any like king with a palace with an outhouse.
I have a college degree, so I know how useless it is.
Yes, we are plumbing respecters.
It's sexier if a person doesn't have a college degree.
Yeah, if you want to date Angie, please send like a 30-second clip of you fixing a toilet.
And
that's what we'll need.
I'm an expert. I will understand if the video has been tampered with.
If you're just pretending to fix it, but you're not actually fixing it.
I will know.
Yes. There we go. Plumbers, we salute plumbers, and we thank you for listening, Angie. All right.
I think our first merch could be like t-shirts that say "I heart plumbers."
Yes. We'll get that done. You start designing that, I start stitching audio.
Okay.
Nice. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Talk later. Bye.